The Supreme Court has been making critical decisions about gun rights that many Americans haven't fully noticed. There were no big press conferences or dramatic announcements, just a series of rulings that are fundamentally changing how the Second Amendment works in this country. These decisions are doing two things at once: protecting gun rights while also setting clear boundaries about responsibility. The message from the justices is straightforward. Gun ownership is a constitutional right, but it comes with expectations about safety and lawful behavior. This isn't about winning or losing. It's about understanding that a new framework is being built, and if you own firearms or care about these rights, you need to pay close attention to what's happening. Before we get into the details, I need you to do something really quick. Smash that like button right now if you care about protecting your Second Amendment rights. It only takes a second, and it makes a huge difference in getting this information out to more people who need it. Also, if you're not already subscribed to the channel, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss any future updates on your rights. Trust me, you're going to want to stay informed about this stuff. Let's start with the Rahimi case, which involved domestic violence and restraining orders. A lot of people got this one wrong. The court said that yes, the Second Amendment is powerful, but it doesn't protect people who have been legally identified as dangerous. If someone is under a restraining order because they pose a real threat, they can temporarily lose access to firearms. But here's what matters. This only applies when there's actual proof of danger, and due process protections remain in place for everyone else. The ruling confirmed that Second Amendment protections apply to responsible owners who haven't done anything wrong. The court isn't weakening gun rights. They're drawing a clear line between people exercising legitimate self-defense and individuals who have been proven to threaten public safety. If someone is demonstrated to be a genuine danger, restrictions can apply temporarily. If they're not, their rights stay protected. The court is finding the balance between freedom and public safety, not undermining the Second Amendment itself. Then there's the Cargill decision, which dealt with the ATF and bump stocks. For years, federal agencies have been expanding their control over gun policy without getting approval from Congress. The Supreme Court just shut that down. They made it crystal clear that regulations cannot replace actual laws, and agencies like the ATF cannot just redefine what counts as a firearm. Specifically, they ruled that bump stocks cannot be reclassified as machine guns unless Congress passes a law saying so. Agencies must follow the exact language of statutes rather than their own policy preferences. Federal power over defining firearms has been limited by the constitutional separation of powers. Congress now holds the sole authority to create new firearm restrictions. This is huge because it puts power back where the Constitution says it belongs, with elected lawmakers, not bureaucrats who change with each administration. If new gun restrictions are going to happen, they have to go through Congress, period. The Second Amendment cannot be governed by shifting political appointees or changing interpretations within agencies. Laws must come through the people's elected representatives, not through administrative shortcuts. The court has recentered authority exactly where the Constitution placed it, with the people and their lawmakers. The Vanderstock case looked at unfinished gun parts and build kits. The court took a balanced approach here. They said that kits designed to quickly become working firearms can be regulated, but this doesn't make homemade guns illegal. The decision respects both historical gun-building traditions and legitimate law enforcement needs. Kits that are designed for rapid conversion into working firearms can be regulated as if they were firearms. However, the ruling does not criminalize lawful home-built firearms that people have been making for generations. The court applied a history-based standard that's consistent with their Bruin decision. Authorities have to prove they're dealing with something that's essentially a ready-to-use weapon, not just random parts. Gun owners can still legally build their own firearms at home. This wasn't a rollback of rights. It was a precise decision confirming that constitutional rights remain intact while making sure loopholes can't be used to hide criminal intent. Mexico tried to sue American gun manufacturers, blaming them for cartel violence south of the border. Every single justice rejected this. The court said manufacturers cannot be held responsible when criminals misuse legally sold firearms. This protects the entire American gun industry from foreign legal attacks. The Protection of Lawful Commerce in Arms Act stays fully enforced, and foreign governments cannot use U.S. courts to go after gun companies. Criminal actions by foreign gangs cannot be traced back and blamed on lawful American commerce. The ruling reaffirms both constitutional protection and jurisdictional protection for gun makers. This matters because anti-gun groups have been trying to bankrupt manufacturers through lawsuits when they couldn't directly restrict gun owners. The Supreme Court just closed that door permanently. Your rights and the industry that supports them remain legally secure. That strategy is now dead. There's also movement on AR-15 bans, though it's been quieter. Maryland and Rhode Island wanted to keep their restrictions on certain rifles and magazines. The court didn't rule yet, but Justice Kavanaugh made it clear this issue isn't settled. The bans are staying in place for now, but only because the court is waiting for the right case with the right facts. The court left current state bans temporarily in place. Justice Kavanaugh specifically noted there are serious constitutional concerns with AR-15 bans. The Bruin History and Tradition Standard will govern how these cases are reviewed in the future. The court is waiting for a cleaner challenge with better procedural positioning. When that case arrives, they're likely to address these bans head-on using the standard they set in the Bruin decision. Silence doesn't mean they're avoiding the issue. It means they're being strategic about when and how they take it on. When the right case with the right record reaches the Supreme Court, AR-style rifle cases are likely to be heard with full constitutional scrutiny. This area is moving toward a major decision, not away from it. Hawaii created a particularly sneaky restriction. They basically said you couldn't carry a gun on any private property unless the owner gave you explicit permission first. That sounds reasonable until you realize it covers stores, restaurants, parking lots, and almost everywhere people actually go. For the average citizen, that meant everyday locations suddenly became off limits. It was essentially a total ban on carrying firearms in public, just disguised as a property rights issue. Default no-carry rules contradict centuries of public carry tradition in America. This approach functioned as a near-total carry prohibition across the entire state. Lower courts were split on whether this structure was even constitutional. The Supreme Court took this case because they saw through the scheme. The outcome will determine whether your right to carry ends the moment you step onto private property that's open to the public, or whether it travels with you as a lawful citizen. This affects far more than just Hawaii. If the court strikes this down, other restrictive states won't be able to copy the playbook. If they uphold it, expect similar restrictions to spread quickly to other states that want to limit gun rights. The ruling will define whether carry rights end at a doorway or travel with the lawful citizen wherever they go. Right now in 2025, states are moving fast. Some are expanding constitutional carry, while others are shifting to location-based restrictions, trying to limit where you can carry instead of whether you can carry. Laws are changing rapidly as states react to these Supreme Court decisions. As rulings come down, legislatures, attorneys general, and sheriffs are updating policies in real time. Gun owners are watching the legal map redraw itself week by week. Pro-gun states are locking in protections to make them permanent and avoid future reversals. Restrictive states are testing which limits can survive the new constitutional standards. Courts are fast-tracking firearms cases instead of letting them stall for years like they used to. Cases are moving through courts faster than they used to. Citizens must follow state guidance closely to remain compliant as laws change. Gun owners need to stay current on their state's specific rules because things are changing week by week. This is a transitional moment in firearms law. Rights are expanding in some regions and being tested in others. The Supreme Court has set the doctrine and the framework, but the states are drawing the battlefield lines. Staying informed isn't optional anymore. Your rights now shift as fast as the legal challenges behind them. The Supreme Court has strengthened Second Amendment protections, but the future depends on how gun owners conduct themselves. Court rulings define the legal framework, but citizens determine whether those rights endure through their actions. Rights endure when owners demonstrate responsibility and discipline. Education and training elevate public trust in lawful carry. Calm, informed voices shape future policy better than conflict. Leading by example protects both the community and the Constitution. Responsible ownership, good training, and calm, informed voices shape policy better than anger or conflict. Leading by example protects both the community and the Constitution. This moment needs leaders, not just people reacting to headlines. It requires gun owners to demonstrate the balance the court expects: freedom paired with responsibility, rights paired with discipline. When citizens carry with knowledge, respect, and purpose, the Second Amendment becomes not just a legal right, but a cultural foundation that lasts through courts, elections, and generations. This is not the end of the conversation. It's the beginning. The Supreme Court has set the foundation through these rulings. They've protected core gun rights, demanded accountability, and reminded federal agencies they don't write the laws in this country. The future is now in our hands. What happens next depends entirely on gun owners and how we carry ourselves in this new landscape. How gun owners carry themselves will decide where this moment leads. If you found this information valuable, do me a favor and hit that like button right now. It helps get this critical information in front of more gun owners who need to know about these changes. And if you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you never miss an update on your rights. Share this video with every gun owner you know, because this information is too important to keep to yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.